Tonight on Ukraine Today, a historic deal. Ukraine and the United States have signed the critical minerals agreement. Coincidence or direct connection? The Trump administration has approved a US arms sale to Ukraine for the first time. Tense news from the front lines. Russian forces are pushing near the Dnipropetrovsk region. And the so-called president of Belarus, Lukashenko, wants to build a drone factory for Russia. Wittkov, goodbye? Trump's special envoy keeps breaking diplomatic protocol. Will he be removed from talks with Russia? And for the fans only, how much money do Ukrainian OnlyFans models owe the state? All that and more in today's Ukraine Today. Hello, we are from Ukraine. My name is Volodymyr Robchun. Click subscribe, hit like, and let's begin. Ukraine and the United States have signed the deal on critical minerals. Ukraine's Minister of Economy, Yulia Sviridenko, shared the details. Here are some key points. Ukraine keeps full ownership and control over its natural resources. The partnership is equal between both sides. A special investment fund will be created for future projects. There are no debt obligations for Ukraine under this agreement. The deal helps both countries grow economically through cooperation and investment. It follows all international agreements signed by Ukraine. The US will support Ukraine with technology and extra investment. And maybe the most important thing, that sends a clear signal to the world: Ukraine is a reliable partner. And here's the next headline. The Trump administration has approved a $50 million weapons deal for Ukraine. That's according to Kyiv Post. Congress still needs to sign off on it, and the sale will go through a direct commercial sale program. Are these two news stories connected? I don't know for sure, but I think they are. Trump always talks about business, even when it comes to helping Ukraine in Russian war. He insisted on the minerals deal. And once that was signed, he moved on to weapons. Again, just business, nothing personal. What matters now is whether both deals will bring real results for both countries. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below and hit that subscribe button. It really helps us grow. The Ukrainian military has hit targets in Russia's Kursk region, specifically the town of Rylsk. Also, a fire broke out at a defense plant in Murom, Vladimir region. At the same time, Lukashenko, the so-called president of Belarus, wants to build a drone factory for Russia. And there's more troubling news from the front lines. Russian forces are trying to break through Ukrainian defenses and reach the borders of Dnipropetrovsk region. More in our report.
Despite the loud declarations by Russian czars about the complete liberation of Kursk, peace for the local residents can only be a dream if, of course, they have the opportunity to sleep. Tonight, drones attacked the city of Rylsk in the Kursk region. The moment of one of the powerful explosions was caught on video. A large fire broke out at a defense plant in the city of Murom, Vladimir region of Russia, as a result of a drone attack. According to reports from the Russian side, 2 buildings were damaged. The so-called Ministry of Defense of Russia reported the downing of 30 drones. There were also reports of the closure of 3 airports.
In the past day, the occupiers launched more than 25 attacks on the positions of the Ukrainian defense forces. And this indicates that the Kursk direction remains a priority for them. And all statements by the top military political leadership of Russia about full control over the territory of the Kursk region are nothing more than an element of information operations. It should be noted that such reports appeared on the eve of a sacred date for Russians, namely May 9th.
Despite the statements from the Russian side, the Ukrainian armed forces remain in the border areas of the Kursk region.
According to reports directly from the scene, intense fighting is taking place in the area of the settlement of Oleshnya. In addition, the Ukrainian defense forces are conducting a series of attacks towards the settlement of Garnol.
The occupiers continue to die and be captured in the Kursk direction. According to South Korean intelligence data, it is known that about 600 North Korean soldiers who participated in combat operations on the side of Russia in the Kursk region have died. The total number of losses is estimated at nearly 5,000 people.
The Ukrainian Defense Forces are conducting a series of successful counterattacks in the Kursk direction. This is also evidenced by the capture of Russian Army servicemen. This is a successful operation by the Special Operations Forces in cooperation with other components of the Ukrainian Defense Forces. In addition, the Ukrainian Defense Forces are delivering precise strikes on command and control points, ammunition depots, and concentrations of heavy armored vehicles of the occupiers in the Kursk region.
Meanwhile, while Putin's subordinates report on non-existent victories, the dictator himself lives in a non-existent reality. According to Bloomberg, Russian President Vladimir Putin did not agree to the U.S. proposal to freeze the war along the front line and demands the transfer of 4 Ukrainian regions to Russia.
If the occupiers are not stopped, the question will arise about the possibility of a direct military confrontation between NATO countries' armed forces and the Russian armed forces. This also involves the implementation of the so-called Suwalki corridor. That is a direct invasion from the territory of the Republic of Belarus into Poland and the Baltic countries, with the aim of creating a land corridor, which according to the plans of the Russian General Staff, should connect the territory of the Republic of Belarus with the Kaliningrad region. In addition, there has been an increase in the transfer of personnel and equipment directly to the borders with NATO countries.
To befriend Russia, that's in the spirit of the Belarusian dictator. The Russian National Project Unmanned Aerial Systems, launched in 2024 by Vladimir Putin's initiative, has faced delays. Out of the 2,717 drones planned under the State Order for 24, manufacturers managed to deliver only half. The delivery of the rest has been postponed to a later date, until the end of May this year. In this situation, Mr. Lukashenko, of course, did not abandon a friend in need and agreed to build a drone factory in Belarus for Russia.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
Ukraine is fighting for freedom. Support independent Ukrainian journalism so we can keep telling you the truth about this war. Click the link down in the description below and become our sponsor. Together to victory. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. While Ukrainian forces are striking Russian military targets, Russian terrorists are hitting civilians. They attacked Odessa with drones. There are some casualties. Civilian infrastructure was badly damaged, including apartment buildings. Fires broke out in several areas. Emergency services are working non-stop to deal with the aftermath. Other regions under drone and missile attack, including Kharkiv, Sumy, Donetsk and Kyiv. A crew from television news service witnessed the Odessa strike. Here's what daily life looks like for millions of peaceful Ukrainians under threat. Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, is causing concern inside the Trump administration. That's according to the New York Post. He keeps breaking diplomatic protocol. For example, he often meets with Putin alone, without professional advisors and diplomats. Sometimes he even uses Russian translators instead of American ones. That's dangerous, and in my opinion, the Kremlin is already using it to manipulate the situation. What exactly happens behind closed doors, we don't know, but even public information is enough to raise red flags. We'll keep watching the story closely. Now about another envoy, Kit Kellogg. There seems to be no drama here, but speaking on Fox News, he said the US presented 22 peace conditions in London. Ukraine agreed, and now it's up to Russia. If they really want peace, they should accept these terms too.
Look, I just came out of London last week where we sat down with the Ukrainian team, with the Europeans as well, and we had 22 concrete terms that they've agreed to. What they want to, at the very first, and what they have, is a very comprehensive and permanent ceasefire that leads to a peace treaty. When I mean comprehensive, sea, air, land infrastructure for at least 30 days. Why is 30 days important? Because it can build to a permanent peace initiative. And the reason why 30 days is important, it stops the killing. That's what President Trump wants to do. He has said it repeatedly.
Putin will agree to that.
Stop the killing.
Putin will agree to that?
Well, that's up to Vladimir Putin.
President Zelensky met with the foreign and defense ministers of Luxembourg. They talked about European cooperation, support for Ukraine, and ways to reach a ceasefire. Later in his nightly address, Zelensky said Ukraine is ready for any format of talks with Russia.
We talked about diplomacy, about the need for a complete ceasefire, unconditional and for a sufficient period, at least 30 days. We need to stop the attacks, stop the killings, and then look for a solution in negotiations. We are ready for any format of conversation. Russia must stop the strikes and the war.
Also, President Zelensky had a phone call with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney. He congratulated him on winning the early elections. They discussed work within the G7, where Canada holds the presidency this year. Zelensky invited Carney to visit Kyiv. And finally, some unexpected numbers. According to Ukraine's tax service, Ukrainian OnlyFans models owe the budget $14 million. Why? Because taxation rules for this type of activity are still unclear in Ukraine. Finance Committee Chairman Danilo Hutmantsev commented on the situation. Listen closely, it's worth it.
I am very grateful to those models who paid taxes. I know many of them personally, because we communicate on social media and discuss these issues as well. So, they have paid taxes, and they have paid quite a lot of taxes. And I am grateful that they comply with the tax laws that are in place today.
Now, that's what I call a personal approach and a direct connection. That's it for today. Thank you for staying with us. We read your comments and we feel your support. Strength to our defenders. Glory to Ukraine. Like, subscribe, and see you soon.